Off-road racing is one of the most dynamic and exciting disciplines of motorsport. But whilst the high-flying buggies and ground-pounding trophy trucks are some of the fastest and craziest vehicles on earth, off-road racing had quite humble beginnings. In this video, the first of a two-part series, we will look at some of the early days of off-road racing. This footage, which is some of the earliest races to be held in Hyden, Western Australia, is well over 30 years old. In the early days of off-road racing, vehicles were often based off Volkswagens. The Bahas and buggies were often pit against tin tops, which were usually modified sedans or utes. From the birth of off-road in the 70s and 80s through to current days, safety measures has been a constant evolution. These safety improvements come from a whole range of areas, from the vehicle structure and roll cage right through to the competitor apparel. Racing in the early days was often held out on farming and regional properties. All around Australia, iconic events in locations such as Hyden, Sea Lake, Goondiwindi, Kempsey and Finke were starting to emerge. In the case of Hyden, a hard day's racing would often be followed by a good old-fashioned burnout competition, which even the race vehicles would join in. There were still plenty of Bahas running around, but the field was getting much more diverse. As technology progressed, there were massive gains in the suspension and horsepower fields. As time went by, the buggies were becoming more sophisticated. The beam buggies were being developed and honed to be much faster than their predecessors. Southern Cross, Verco and Rivmaster were some of the major frame builders at the time. Eventually the bean buggies, which typically had a small capacity engine, being that of a Class 2 or 1600cc, were being overtaken by V8 and turbo buggies. The developments being made in the gearbox, axles and general drivetrain improvements was opening up the engine options available. Fast forward to more recent times and there are still plenty of throwback vehicles running around today. They are often either rebuilt and restored from earlier times or have been built similar to the earlier race vehicles, some with modern day technology shoehorned and adapted into the older frames. It's worth noting that both Motorsport Australia and AASA are creating historic off-road racing classes, which will help preserve these vehicles from a bygone era and bring them back out onto racetracks. As we prepare to leave this era of older vehicle and look at some of the latest and newest that is on offer, we will leave you with some of the images of what may have been the last bean buggy to win an AORC event outright, the ex-Glen Owen Rimco, which in these videos is being piloted by Darren Agrella. Stay tuned for the next video as we move into the arrival of the A Arm Buggies, trophy trucks and the recent surge into the side-by-side classes. Don't forget to subscribe to Cage Tech Racing to see the latest videos as they are released. Thanks for watching.